book is all about identifying stress, coping with stress as it comes up, and learning self-regulation skills. Self-regulation is generally thought of something that happens when we're toddlers. We start to learn how to regulate our own emotions. So the tantrums, let's say, were really big at 2 and 3 years old, but maybe by 5 and 6, we're starting to be able to calm ourselves down. And generally what ends up being a crucial part of learning how to self-regulate is first learning how to co-regulate. It's the parent's role or the caregiver's role to teach a child how to remove themselves from the situation, sit down, take some breaths, refocus, and ultimately to calm down. This parent, or for some of us maybe it doesn't happen until we're with a therapist or we have a really good friend who can help us kind of snap out of the mental loop that we're in. Again, ideally this happens when we're young, but for the majority of us, it's not really a skill that we were taught because our parents didn't know. You can think of it as grounding into and anchoring ourselves in the present moment. Right here, right now, as simple and maybe boring as the mind thinks it is. So in this moment, see if wherever you're sitting or standing, you can just become aware of your hands. Just the inside of your hands. Maybe you want to rub your fingers together. And maybe your mind's already thinking, okay, I'm feeling my hands, move on, okay. Right? That sort of, let's move to the next thing, is the very thing that these technologies we're surrounded by promote and even strengthen. So just in this moment, through whatever kind of mind chatter is going on, see if you can just feel your hands. Are they warm, cold, sticky, smooth? Maybe you want to rub your 2 hands together. Just feel heat, pressure. Notice how things are changing. And put your hands down. Okay, if you did that, if you could do that, just that short amount of time here, don't underestimate how valuable that is for your well-being. So I mentioned one of the downsides of technology, but there's obviously many benefits. For one, we couldn't even be having this class without technology. But what we need to be aware of is that staring at screens is unnatural. Humans have been around far longer than an iPad. So this sort of interaction we have with a virtual world is really not something that our mind and bodies are prepared to deal with. And we've already begun to see health risks associated with long screen time. It encourages our mind out of our physical body and the present moment into a virtual world of thinking, comparing, judging, liking. The mind loves this stuff. It's very exciting and it keeps it entertained. But it's also rewiring the brain to have a lower capacity to just be present with what is happening now. So that was a short grounding exercise we had, but grounding can be any sort of use of our 5 senses, taking a moment and looking around the room, becoming aware of the color of these items around you, rather than just looking and your mind still going on about the same crap it was talking about earlier. Grounding can be becoming quiet and just listening, a train in the distance, just taking a pause and quietly listening. Grounding can look like using the physical touch, so feeling into the palms of your hands, feeling into the bottoms of your feet, feeling where your body touches the chair, putting your hand on your belly. Let's do that right here together. You may notice a tendency to breathe through the chest, but we actually want to activate your diaphragm. So if you go down a little lower, take a deep breath in with me and watch your belly expand. of a sudden you notice the mind is quiet, it's just focusing on the breath. Okay? Maybe you don't even notice anything significant about that in this moment, but that is a resource that you have the power of at any time. If you feel yourself getting worked up about something, see if you can just take a moment. Okay, this is really activating me. I'm getting a little worked up over this. If you can, removing yourself from that environment. Go to the bathroom, walk down the hall, and just try engaging your senses, intentionally calming your mind. It's like taking a step back and saying, okay, no, we're gonna actually just think about the sounds that I can hear. What is the farthest noise from me? What is it around me that I can see that's red? And just pausing for a moment. With time and implementation of this and finding what works for you, it begins to grow stronger. It begins to have a real influence on how you're able to regulate yourself, which of course other people then experience you in a different way. And then ultimately you get to experience yourself in a different way. Okay, another grounding technique we're going to talk about is often referred to as earthing. If you have access to grass right outside your door, you might want to try taking your shoes off and just walking around slowly. No technology, no books, nothing to take your attention away, but just noticing each step as your foot hits the ground. Although this sounds new agey and woo-woo, if you think about it, it's only been relatively recent that humans are in thick padded shoes on hard floors, concrete, asphalt roads. It's a far more natural state for us to be barefoot and walking on the ground. And if you'll notice, it kind of tickles. It engages your senses in a way that wearing shoes just doesn't. It can actually be a fun experience. Okay, the last grounding technique that I'm going to talk about today is called Brema. And I learned this a little bit later in my development, but it has been incredibly helpful for me. And essentially it's a way to ground us into the present moment through our bodies. And it really just looks like tapping the body. Feeling the body, just gentle pats all over the body. You can make it kind of rhythmic, you can beat out a song, but the point is to take your attention away from the overwhelming and anxious thoughts and just into the physical sensations of touching your body. All of these grounding techniques are ways to learn how to self-regulate, to bathe our nervous system in calm, which we could all use. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video, and I'll see you next time.